Right now, somewhere outside a mid-sized American city, a man is standing on a ledge of exposed limestone, watching a drill bit chew into rock that has been sitting undisturbed for about 340 million years. In 6 seconds, he is going to press a button that detonates 4,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate packed into boreholes, drilled 60 feet deep. The blast will shatter roughly 40,000 tons of stone in under 2 seconds. And the entire point of this violence, the drilling, the explosives, the billions of dollars in machinery waiting below, is to produce a product that sells for about $12 a ton. $12 a ton. That is less than a large pizza for 2,000 pounds of rock, and yet the guy who owns this hole in the ground is probably one of the wealthiest people in his county. He drives a truck that costs more than your house. His quarry throws off cash like a broken ATM. And he didn't get rich because rock is valuable. He got rich because rock is heavy. Let me explain. A cubic yard of crushed limestone weighs about 2,700 pounds. A standard dump truck carries maybe 20 tons. That means every single truckload of stone that leaves this quarry burns diesel just to move itself down the road. And diesel is not cheap, and trucks are not fast. And drivers are not free, so every mile between this quarry and the construction site where the rock is needed adds cost. Not a little cost. A lot of cost by the time you V-hauled crushed stone 30 miles. The freight can double what the customer pays. Push it to 50 miles. And the transportation expense can actually exceed the price of the rock itself. You are now paying more to move the stone than the stone is worth. The USGS has said this plainly: the cost of getting aggregate from the quarry to the job site sometimes exceeds the value of the product at the plant gate, which means aggregate is one of the only commodities on Earth where the logistics are more expensive than the thing being shipped, so nobody ships it far. They can afford to. A contractor pouring a highway foundation in Dallas is not calling a quarry in Houston. He is calling the quarry 12 miles away. He has no choice. And neither does the guy building a parking garage, or the crew laying a water main, or the county resurfacing a road. Every single one of them needs crushed stone, and every single one of them is a hostage to geography. This is the first thing you need to understand about quarry economics. The product is worthless, the location is everything. A quarry next to a growing city isn't selling rock, it is selling proximity. It is the only supplier within economic reach, and its customers literally cannot go anywhere else without blowing their budget on freight. Economists call this a natural local monopoly. Normal people call it a license to print money. Now here is where a reasonable person might ask, if quarries near cities are so profitable, why doesn't someone just open another one closer? Excellent question, terrible answer. To open a rock quarry, you need 3 things. First, you need actual rock, not dirt, not sand. A verified geological deposit of hard, durable stone, limestone, granite, trap rock, sitting close enough to the surface that you can reach it without digging to the center of the earth. These deposits are not everywhere. They're geological accidents laid down by ancient seas or volcanic events, and they sit where they sit. You don't get to choose. Second, you need equipment. A primary jaw crusher alone can cost over $1 million. Then you need secondary crushers, screens, conveyors, loaders, haul trucks, dust suppression systems, water management infrastructure, and a scale house. A mid-size operation can easily require $15 to $20 million in capital before it produces a single pebble. Third, and this is the one that kills you, you need permits, mining permits, environmental impact assessments, air quality permits, water discharge permits, blasting permits, zoning variances, county board approval, state agency approval, sometimes federal review if there is a wetland or an endangered species within sneezing distance. The permitting process for a new quarry in a populated area can take 5 to 10 years, sometimes longer, sometimes forever. And that brings us to the part where the system eats itself. Cities grow. That is what cities do. They spread outward, converting farmland and forest into subdivisions and strip malls and schools. And every single one of those structures needs aggregate. A single family house requires about 100 tons of crushed stone and sand for its foundation, driveway, and utility connections. A mile of 2-lane road needs roughly 25,000 tons. A highway interchange can swallow 300,000 tons. So as the city expands, demand for rock goes up, way up. But here is the self-destruct sequence. As the city expands, it expands toward the quarry. The quarry that was 5 miles outside of town 20 years ago is now surrounded by a subdivision called Whispering Pines or Eagle Creek, or some other name designed to make you forget. There is a giant hole next door where they detonate explosives every Tuesday. And the new residents of Whispering Pines do not love the quarry. They do not love the ground shaking at 2 p.m. They do not love the white dust coating their cars. They do not love the parade of 80,000 pound dump trucks rumbling past the elementary school 30 times an hour. So they organize, they petition. They attend county board meetings and say things like quality of life and property values and think of the children and county commissioners who enjoy being reelected. Listen, new quarry permits get denied, expansion requests get blocked, buffer zone requirements get widened, operating hours get restricted. The quarry that was once surrounded by nothing is now surrounded by people who want it gone. But they also need it. Every road they drive on, every foundation their house sits on, every pipe carrying water to their kitchen, all of it required the exact product being made in the hole they re-complaining about. So the existing quarry becomes more valuable with every denied permit, every blocked competitor, every rejected expansion request within a 50-mile radius. The city's own growth creates the demand. The city's own residents destroy the supply. And the quarry owner sits in the middle of this beautiful contradiction, raising prices $1 a ton every couple of years because where else are you going to go? Wait, so the same people who need the rock the most are the ones making it impossible to produce more rock. That is not irony, that is a business model. This is why major aggregate companies, Martin Marietta, Vulcan Materials, Quarry, have been quietly buying quarries near growing cities for decades. They re-not buying rock. Rock is cheap. They re-buying permits. They rebuying the legal right to blast and crush in a location where no new competitor will ever be allowed to set up. A permitted quarry near a top. 25 metro area is a fortress. The geology can be moved, the permit can be replicated, and the demand only goes in one direction. The daily economics inside a quarry are brutally simple. The drill crew punches holes into the rock face in a precise grid pattern. A blasting contractor loads those holes with bulk explosives and wires them to a sequence detonation system. The blast goes off. 40,000 tons of rock collapse into a pile of rubble at the base of the high wall. Front-end loaders scoop this rubble into haul trucks that dump it into a primary crusher, a massive jaw mechanism that squeezes boulders down to about 8 inches. From there, the rock travels on conveyors to secondary crushers, then to screens, vibrating steel mesh decks that sort the crushed stone by size, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Dust each size has a different price. Each size goes to a different use. The big stuff goes into road base and railroad ballast. The medium stuff goes into concrete and asphalt. The fines, the powdery stuff nobody thinks about, get sold for fill material or agricultural lime. A well-run quarry might produce 2 to 4 million tons a year, at an average selling price of $10 to $14 per ton. That is $20 to $50 million in gross revenue. Operating costs, labor, diesel, explosives, equipment maintenance, royalties, insurance eat roughly 60 to 70% of that. But the remaining margin on a fully depreciated operation with no debt can be enormous for what is essentially a hole in the ground. And the hole itself is an asset that gets more valuable as it gets bigger. Every ton of rock you remove creates more space that can later be sold as a landfill, converted into a reservoir, developed into real estate, or turned into a lake surrounded by expensive homes. Some quarry operators make as much money from the afterlife of their pit as they did from the rock they pulled out of it. The real genius of quarry economics is that it violates everything you'd expect about commodity businesses in a normal commodity market. Oil, wheat, copper. The product can be shipped globally. If one producer raises prices, buyers switch to someone across an ocean. Competition is everywhere. Margins get crushed, but aggregate can play that game. It is too heavy, too cheap, and too expensive to move. A quarry 20 miles from a building boom has no meaningful competition from a quarry 60 miles away. The physics of weight and the economics of trucking create an invisible wall around each quarry as territory. And inside that wall, the quarry is king. This is also why aggregate prices almost never crash. During the 2008 recession, when oil dropped 70% and steel prices collapsed, aggregate prices barely dipped. Construction volume fell, sure, quarries produced less, but they didn't slash prices because there was nobody undercutting them from far away. The local monopoly held. Prices recovered within 2 years and have been climbing slowly ever since. Crushed stone is one of the most recession-resistant commodities in America, and almost nobody knows it because nobody thinks about it because it is a rock. The entire modern world, every skyscraper, every bridge, every runway, every sewer pipe bedding, every suburban sack is sitting on crushed rock pulled from a quarry within a short truck ride. The United States alone consumes roughly 1.5 billion tons of aggregate per year. That is about 4.5 tons for every man, woman, and child in the country every single year. And almost all of it comes from small, ugly, loud holes in the ground that the neighbors wish would disappear. So the next time you drive past one of those holes, dust blowing across the road, trucks lined up at the gate, the faint thud of a blast rumbling through your steering wheel, understand what you're looking at. That is not a nuisance. That is a geographic monopoly protected by geology. Physics, bureaucracy, and the collective outrage of every homeowner within 5 miles. The owner can't be undercut. He can't be replaced. And every new subdivision that goes up nearby makes his position stronger while making his neighbors angrier. He is selling $12 rocks out of a hole that no one will ever be allowed to dig again. and his biggest competitive advantage is that everyone hates him too much to let